How's it going, YouTube? How's it going, Twitch? Yo, how's it going, Hick? Need to check some audio levels here real quick. This is me talking. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. All right. I have a plan this evening. I want to get the Briarthorn app I've been making running on my Steam Deck. I have it over here in the corner, right there. I might be able to show it off with another camera. But I also have a Wi-Fi KVM running, so I'll just be able to load it up in a browser real quick, and we'll be able to look at it that way. So let's kind of jump into this, I think. So just to kind of get caught back up on the past 2 streams, I think. Using QtQuick and C++ have got an application up and running on my website. Now this screenshot represents a prototype I did in Flutter that I am actively porting over. So all of this exists in GitHub, available for anyone to look at if they so please. Allwin, the framework that I'm wrapping around Qt, is open source, available for anyone to do what you want with. Briarthorn is source available, so it's also available to clone, build, and play with if you want. And with this try it button, you should be able to access my current state of progress. I have since added a little version string in the top right corner, so you can kind of get an idea of where things at, when the last time a build was made, to know if you're working off of the latest instance of the game, that kind of thing. Not a lot of gameplay yet. Some steering, navigation, fuel consumption, health bar. This guy is shooting a missile at me. That's cool. I can release a flare, which you'll start to see in the bottom here. I can go full screen and get a better picture of what's going on. Those missiles are coming straight for me. This is going to be a problem. And that's kind of where things are at right now. QtQuick, C++, fun stuff. So I want to see if I can get this running on the Steam Deck. I have a dev container, Docker file, if you will, with SteamOS, or the Sniper SDK from Steam. So this has been building in the my GitHub pipelines and passing. So I'm assuming this is going to be quick and easy to do. I'm just going to build it, transfer it to the Steam Deck, and call it a day. It'll be that easy. So I think the next step is, I had a wireless KVM connected to my Steam Deck right now, and in fact I might be able to open up a camera here. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, cat. We have cat. So there's the Steam Deck. The KVM is right next to it. So the Steam Deck is plugged into this KVM, which is connected to my network. And then in my browser here, I can access the KVM via IP address on my local network and stream the Steam Deck. So if I can drop a file into here and run it, we should see it run. Where should I put this? I also need to make it available for my vertical peeps. Let's try that. There you go, vertical peeps. Where can I put this? Guess I'll put it like right. Put it in the top corner. There you go. All right, so if you're watching vertically, I have put it above my head in the top corner, but that's the Steam Deck plugged into the KVM. And I need to get a binary built to run Briarthorn. I don't need this anymore. So the way I can do that, at least on Windows, is I can hop into my Steam dev container, Steam OS. Hopefully I was smart enough to pre-build the dependencies. Well, I just got a notification. Apparently, there is now a Claude Opus 5. Okay, I can't keep up. There's too many Opuses, Sonnets, and Fables, and I don't know which is which and how to use them for what purpose. Let's see. I will build this on GCC release. We'll hit configure and pray for the best. It works in GitHub, so it should work locally. I hope. I just realized I haven't positioned. Where should I put this? You do this. You gotta have the cat, right? Here we go. How about that? Better than nothing, I think. Now the downside here is this is running in a WSL environment, so it's going to be a little slower. But I don't think I've made any changes to dependencies. So I'm hoping it just builds. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It's just installing. That's exactly what we want to see. And now, part of why this has to happen is Qt binaries are, go figure, not pre-built to run on the Steam Deck. So using this dev container with different versions of glibc, I have to rebuild Qt to link against these older versions so that it can run on the Steam Deck.
Nothing is guaranteed, such a thin line in between. Colder than ice when you're next to me. First time we met, I knew I had to make you mine. Couldn't see all the warnings, cause you looked so fine. When I look into your eyes, my heartbeat stops. Live a beautiful life, there's no love. I don't need you, your love just doesn't
This is unfortunate. Building Qt declarative. So that might take a good second. What should I do here? Well, I guess while we're waiting for this, we can take a look at want to take a look at how I'm handling the entity stats in this game and how that maps to acceleration, maneuverability, durability, all that fun stuff. Basically like data and handling entity definitions, if you will. So I have a database file here, but I think I kind of want to split this out into individual files to define these. This has been a quick and dirty solution using an enumeration with the switch statement, but I kind of want to turn this into an actual data map to perform lookups. And I think these are all data weapons. Trying to decide data weapon has additional information, performs a lookup in terms of data object. So data weapon must be a data. Oh, can I not go to definition yet? Dang it. Data weapon. Yeah, so data weapon is a data. It's just built on top of data, which has a classification, your visualization. I almost need the visualization to be its own thing. Everyone's blowing up my phone. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it just depends, right? If you're just performing a lookup, then it's probably fine. Probably. I find that the big trade-off is more memory than performance. Especially if you're not too worried about iteration. And under the hood of all of this, so if now it's been a minute since I've used a map in QtQuick QML, but I'm pretty sure it's a standard map under the hood, which is, oh my god, it's been a minute. It's like a red-black tree, right? So you got a couple of translation layers here, which generally speaking happen at the compilation caching step of building the application for QtQuick. That's where the real trade-off is. So I almost need a data folder. This is where my actual data will live. And then this data object instead of having the thing I am thinking about right now is when it comes to track detection, say in my game, I love that I can just go to my website and open this now. But when it comes to like detecting a track, right now it's a generic diamond, as in unknown. So what I want to happen is during the visualization step, it's going to query for a classification, like, oh hey, this guy is a fighter, so take the fighter, look up what the visualization data is for a fighter. Oh, it's this triangular shape with a little cut in. If it fails to find a classification, I want it to show something obvious, like, hey, this needs to be fixed. Like, hey, you don't have data for this classification. Ooh, I'm in trouble. Run! Well, that doesn't look any better. I also need to get range in and range out implemented as well. Right, this is still building. Uh-oh. Error, unable to read file. What's going on? Is it trying to mess with my QML file right now? QML data, unable to... What? Unhandled promise rejection. Add newly created files to CMake list. Cannot open VS Code remote. Huh. What do we think? Non-issue? That's probably a non-issue, right? We're gonna ignore that. Pretend that didn't happen. Well, this is a bummer. I could have sworn I had everything pre-built and ready to go for the Steam Deck, and clearly I was wrong. The other thing we can try real quick is in GitHub. I'm hoping the pipelines will have saved artifacts, though I don't know if I wrote them to cache them. Maybe that's what I do. That might go quicker. Where is it? SteamOS, details, post run. I don't even know where I would go to find this. If this was GitLab, I would know. Upload build. There is an upload build. Okay, so how do I get to the artifacts for upload build? Oh, am I not signed in? Because I'm in a dev container. So there is an upload build step. Artifact download URL. Oh, huge. Okay, we may have a way to make progress here. All right. So I added somewhere. Where is it? Blind? Oh, I put it in the wrong. How about now? There it is. All right. I added Steam OS build.zip. This was built in GitHub in my pipelines. So we're going to see if I can just drop that in to my Steam Deck, extract it, and try and run it. From my deb container. All right, let's see here. This is the Steam Deck. No external device, virtual media, mount to remote, file sharing. Oh wait, was I supposed to drop a file in first? Step 1, open the PC on remote device, open glkvm, transfer the file. Ooh, I may have skipped a step. Yep. All right, we need to eject. Barely read it. No, I want to wait. Okay. No, that's not the file we want. I don't know what's going on. The quality is quite poor right now. This wasn't an issue before. Safely remove. There we go. Could not safely. This is why I don't run Linux. Safely remove, and it won't let me. One or more files on this device are open with an application. But that is not true. I did not open this file in an application. I didn't. You guys saw it. I didn't open a file with this application. Linux is being an asshole. Asshole. Oh, this sucks, dude. Trying to remember how to get to the console. I also don't know how to force unmount a device. Linux force unmount device. I gotta find the device. How do I find the device? Maybe this works. Stop sharing. There we go. Jesus. All right. I'm going to drop the SteamOS build into here. Upload successful. So let's mount to remote for sharing. Mount and open. There we go. SteamOS build. Let's copy that onto the desktop. Hey, Dal. All right, that worked. Let's extract it. You just joined? Welcome to the stream. You are watching me succeed. That's what you are seeing. This is an application that I'm making with C++ and Qt using QML, which is basically a declarative scripting language on top of C++ with a Vulkan, DirectX, Metal, WebGL backend, all that fun stuff. Making a game. I just transferred an automated build in GitHub Actions for Steam into my Steam Deck, which is, if you're watching the stream, there's a little extra video camera on my Steam Deck right there, connected to a wireless KVM. So I did a remote drop of that automated build, and this is officially running on the Steam Deck. So I'm going to go grab the Steam Deck, bring it over here, and we're going to see if it actually runs, like the inputs work. Oh, that's awkward. The orientation is not it's not correct. Is there a way to fix that? Huh. Check it out. This is awesome. So I have C++ code in here to check if a device has a touch screen. So because the Steam Deck has a touch screen, I get the little joystick button, touchscreen button that I can control, and it actually like works. So there you have it. C++ Qt running on the Steam Deck. Now, can I get this to rotate? I don't even know how do you right click? Desktop display configuration. I'm getting there. Stand by. Is it, which one is it? Is it this one? Oh, that's upside down. Oh God, it's upside down. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. All right, let's try it again. Is it, wait, which one did I just do? Is it this one? There we go. Keep. There we go. Check it out. It is, obviously it's not full screen, but it's maximized. And because the Steam Deck has a touch screen, you can use the touchscreen controls, or you can use your game controller. Pretty freaking awesome, if I do say so myself. But yeah, so I've been working on this on stream, off stream since about the same time I started streaming, honestly, which was, I think, middle of March, end of March. I had a prototype done up using a different language, a different framework called Flutter. The framework is Flutter, the language is Dart. And I am working on porting it with the help of some AI assistants to do all of the boring stuff, typing, to get it ported over into C++, QtQuick. I'm pulling up the prototype now. So this is what I'm working towards. The end goal here is you get to pick from a couple of different aircraft classes. So you're going to have your typical fighter aircraft, so something that is kind of quick, highly maneuverable, with flares as defensive abilities, types of things. And the goal is you're going to fly through missions, taking on enemies, different challenges, use these abilities, upgrade them. You know, your typical roguelite types of stuff. You have stats that apply to all of this, and each aircraft has their own abilities to handle defenses. Thunder is going to be more of your like larger bomber type aircraft, slow but heavy and durable. Shockwave abilities, maybe some EMP type abilities. You have Swarm, which is drones, so you're going to be utilizing drones for your offense and defense. You're about to go down, maybe send out a drone to take the hit for you so your other drones can continue on. Maybe do some like mind control type of abilities where you send a drone out to take control of a missile and steer it away. And then you have Ghost. Ooh. So Ghost is going to be like your stealth aircraft, the ability to avoid detection, get closer into enemy defenses and break them apart kind of thing. So then you're going to pick, and now this is just the simple 1v1 scenario. I go stealth. I can select an enemy to shoot. Maybe I'll launch a missile at them. And the idea is to try and complete the mission before you run out of fuel or before you die, you know, that kind of thing. So this is what I'm trying to port over to C++ QtQuick. It's all open source available. Well, the framework I'm doing this with, Qt, and the code that I'm using to automate all my software builds, that's open source available. Briarthorn, the game, is going to be source available, so you can clone it, build it, play it, but don't distribute it, right? And then hopefully, eventually, release it on Steam and itch and see if it goes anywhere. I have never made a game before, so I am kind of learning as I go and trying to figure this out as I go. So we'll see. Like anyone making a game, there's a high chance that I either don't complete this or don't succeed. Only time will tell. That is where things are at. Why don't I use trigonometry and relative velocity? I do. I absolutely do. That's That's kind of how you do tracking and maneuvering. So if I'm going to, like, if I'm going to pursue an enemy, then I can track the velocity vector of where he's going and have the other guy fly towards where he's going, or I can have him like track behind him, that kind of thing. I can create smart and dumb missiles. I don't have it implemented yet, but the long-term plan is, let me pull it up. Play.briarthorn.game. But the long-term plan is with like a guided missile or something that like requires guidance to hit its target. If I launch it, then it's going to fly towards the target while it's within my radar cone. But if I have to like steer away to avoid or dodge or what have you, then the guided missile is just going to continue on its last known trajectory, and then only if the target is back within the field of view will it steer back towards the target, right? So the challenge then is how long can you keep the missile guided on the target while not dying, basically. So there's a bunch of stuff like that I want to implement for sure. Well, cool. So I already confirmed this runs on the Steam Deck, so I don't need to wait for this to finish building. I'll do that in my own personal time. I'll swap back over to Windows. Then I can, of course, wirelessly remote back into my Steam Deck and test out the game on the Steam Deck from my desktop here. Can you show a quick demo how I live view a QML file when coding? So do you mean like almost like hot reloading? I don't know if I have that set up. I could probably do that real quick. Since I remember how. So there is a tool called QML Preview. I gotta find it. Ooh, do I not build it? Hang on. I might not be building it. One sec. SDL3, GTest, Qt, declarative, WebSockets, GUI, PNG, host tool, QML castgen, etc. Host is true. Oh wait, it's going to be in release, not debug. Let me swap over to release. Hopefully I don't have to rebuild all this. We've got a lock. Stand by. I've got the downside, the swapping between all these different builds. Sometimes you get processes. Yep, we got a lock. All right, hang on. I'm gonna close this window. Try it again. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna have to kill some processes. Okay, I think we are good. Configuring preset, no architecture. Dude, what is going on? Stand by. I don't see any processes running. Yo, what up, Buffer? Why can't a computer work when you need it to? That's all I ask. Do I just need to delete this file? .vc package bt. Yeah, oh, that's WSL. WSL might still have... Ooh. What is that file? VC package running.lock. Can I even delete this? I can. Alright, trying again. Son of a biscuit. Are you kidding me? WSL. PSEF. Who in my WSL environment has access to VC package? I almost need to shut it down. WSL shut down. Oh, probably can't do it from here. Exit. WSL shut down. All right, if that doesn't fix it, I am ending stream right now. That seems to have fixed it. Oh no, I am not doing realistic simulation here. I don't want to make a realistically air combat simulation because, one, that's a lot of work. Two, I think that's going to be a little more niche. So there's going to be like diehard fans when it comes to air combat and like air simulation. And I am not at that level of expertise that I can get that 100% correct. And if I don't get it correct, then you're going to know, or those who care are going to know. So my goal is to kind of dumb that down, simplify it, and try and make this game a little more approachable for the masses versus more niche. Unfortunately, my company is currently not looking for internships yet. And even if that were the case, it would have to be in person, most likely. All right, let's see if this built that QML preview thing you were wanting. What is that? Windows. Oh, please. What the heck? Well, I gotta look this up. Element PQ RSTUV QT. I think it's tools. Could be wrong. There it is. It's under QML, or it's under Qt declarative, so it should be there. QML preview. Why is... Interesting. Oh, that's really cool. So sounds like you're actually like heavily involved in physics simulation then? Are you having to account for like fluid dynamics, air, like the fact that you're flying through air kind of thing? Or is it more of like vacuum simulation? Yeah, I screwed something up a while back, and this is now presenting itself. So this is cool. I don't need that. I wonder if I have it installed locally instead of trying to build it. Let me see if I have it installed in Qt here. I do. I have it. Okay. So we're going to try this. Copy as path. Yeah, so why did I build this from source versus using the installer? That's a great question. Because Qt pre-built does not work with the Steam Deck. It doesn't. Because Qt pre-built is pre-built with newer versions of glibc. So I needed a custom build in order to link against older libraries to support running on Steam Deck, for instance. So by doing that, I get to have complete control over the compiler flags and settings and configuration for exactly how I want to build it. The other reason is it comes with VC package. So the package manager, I can pre-build it, cache it, and be done, which is what I do in the GitHub pipelines. I also support just pointing it to a pre-installed version of Qt, which I have right here. So this is pre-installed Qt, and it has QML preview, which is the application I was looking for. I'm gonna have to play around with my current configuration because I apparently disabled the tools that come with it when I build it myself, so I'm gonna have to re-enable that. But the way to do this with a live QML is, well, you need to do a couple of things. One, and I don't know if I have all this set up. Well, yeah, a couple of things. You need to have debugging enabled for, or specifically a Qt flag for debugging, which I don't think I am setting. And then two, your main.cpp file has to load the QML file versus loading the QML module. There's a difference. One is set up to load like your QML cached bytecode, and the other one's set up to load and parse the QML file itself. So there's a different type of configuration involved to get your live preview running to get all this working. Someone new to the industry has built solid C++ shop, knows Qt well. What would you recommend to send out and get hired? That's always tough. At the end of the day, it's part of it is where you live. right? What opportunities are around you. I can't know what's available to you locally. Remotely, you're almost certainly going to need to have some kind of project or history of performance that you can point to on your resume to show that you are capable of getting work done and solving problems. You know, the typical resume stuff, right? Bonus if you make it to the interview and you can talk specifics about Qt. How does Qt manage memory with its object system? How does Qt register properties? How does the meta object compiler work? Where do the auto-generated files from the meta object compiler go? What happens if you don't have them? You know, that kind of thing. Yes, exactly, Hunter. That is exactly what I mean. If you do a load from module, then the live preview, at least from my experience, won't work. I think it'll still launch. I just don't think it will reload because the module's kind of like baked in versus loading the file itself. It can do a file watch and reload anytime you make a change to it. I had this working in another project. I don't have it set up for this project yet because I've kind of been at a mad dash to get to port. So what I'm currently doing is load from module. So I'm doing engine.load from module main, right? This has to change if I want to do the live preview. I would have to do like engine.load, trying to remember, QURL from local file, and then you have to point it to like, I think mine's in C:/ or D:/dev/all-in app Briarthorn main.qml. So you kind of have to do that. And then on top of that, you also, man, I'm trying to remember. I'm going to build this first and see if my application will still run. Let's, you know, baby steps. We'll see if I get that right. URI unreferenced. What did I screw up? I screwed something up. The following warning is treated. Oh man. Oh, I know what it's doing. I'm gonna ignore that for now. I have this in another repo. I can actually just pull that up real quick, but I do want to get it working for this as well. But I can show you. I think it's archived. Yeah, right here. So this is what you have to do to get the QML preview working. So first of all, you need to have QtQML debug defined. And I do that in my CMake list. Somewhere. I know I do. Because I did it. Right here. So target compile definitions. I have a thing set here that says, hey, if I am in debug or release with debug, define the macro QtQML debug. So that's going to be required because that exposes the application port for the QML preview application to hook into the state. And then the other piece of the puzzle is that file watcher So anytime you make a change to a QML file, you want the application to be able to refresh and reload as you're changing. That is where you're going to get the difference in main.cpp. And I basically did, hey, if QtQML debug is defined, then let's load from my main.qml file itself instead of loading it as a module. So by doing that, then once you have that set up, you run the QML preview application and feed your application in as an input. So you do all that, and then your preview stuff will work. Or just use Qt Creator to handle all of this for you, and it will have it all set up for you by default. But that being said, nothing wrong with trying to get this up and running for my current application to see if it works, and I'm not talking nonsense. I like to think I'm not talking nonsense, but you know, sometimes that's not the case. Looks like I already got that wrong. That should be QML main. Okay. And if this works, then what we should see happen. Okay. I do want this. So I'm going to run the QML preview application. First of all, just to make sure it actually runs. Ooh, that doesn't look right. Let's get rid of the quotes. There we go. It runs. So then I want to pass in my application that I just built. Release installed bin Briarthorn. Nope. And if this works, crap, it didn't work. Oh wait. Wait. Did it not install? You guys are making me like live debug my build process because I haven't tested everything yet. Briarthorn bin. I don't know if I like that. Okay. Oh my god. What do you think? Does it work? It is failing to do something. I might not be loading my QML files correctly to do it this way. My challenges and advantages between C++ and Python? Easy. That is an easy question to answer. I don't know Python. To be more specific, I don't know Python well enough such that I could just build the application the way I want to build it. I would have to spend extra time learning Python. And not like, when I say learning Python, I don't mean the syntax necessarily. That's part of it, of course. But it's more about like learning the idioms and how to write proper Python such that someone else looking at the code would be like, oh yeah, I know what this is doing. I know exactly what this is doing. You know, every language has its own like way to write code such that others would understand what's happening. That takes time, that takes effort. If you have a mentor to help you or someone to code review, then you'll learn that quicker. I don't have any of that, and I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on a language I am not that comfortable with. I actually started this whole project this whole effort in Godot, but I ran into the same issue with Godot. I didn't have the right processes, practices, idioms, etc. on writing well maintained and like flexible, extensible code in Godot. But I do know Qt and I do know C++, and I have had a lot of success with it in my career. So I don't have to spend any thought or effort in building out my project and how I want to architect everything. I can just spend that effort making the game. So that's why I chose this. No other reason. I think what's happening, without digging too deep into this, is my project is set up to work as a module and not as runtime loaded QML files, which, you know, credit to Qt, I think is really cool. QtQuick supports, I think, at least 3 different modes that I'm familiar with. And that is, you write a bunch of QML files and you tell your application to load the root QML file, and then it will percolate through all of the other imports to pull in all the files you need. That's awesome. Because that kind of gives you that runtime, like easily configurable and prototyping for your application. And honestly, if I am able to make this game and release it, I want it to be moddable. And the easiest way to make this moddable, I think, is to just allow the application to load main.qml as a file, because then anyone can go in and modify the QML files and make the game do whatever they want without having to recompile. The other way, which is what I'm currently doing, is caching and bytecode. So it's going to build the QML files and compile them to bytecode in order to run a little more quickly and efficiently. And then the third way that I haven't really spent too much time learning, I've done it a little bit, but there is now a QML TC type compiler, which will take your QML files, your scripts, and translate them to C++ header and source files so that you can compile all of the logic into an actual application. And then the only thing that isn't compiled in is the JavaScript. If you're writing any JavaScript, that just goes straight into the V8 JavaScript engine. But I mean, I'm getting errors right here, right? It's saying cannot read property name of null inside system engage. So there's clearly, like, this could be a problem here on line 2 where I'm doing relative loading, because again, before I was caching and loading the module, now it's loading the files directly. So if, for instance, if my application is running in my installed folder, it's probably expecting my QML files to exist somewhere in here, and they don't, because they are cached, but these aren't, or they're not there. Like the raw text files aren't there. So I have the application running out of here, but my main.cpp is expecting the QML to be here, and so that's not playing nice. So I don't know the exact issue, but I suspect that has part, or like that plays a part for sure. Yeah, so that's going to take a little bit more time and effort, I think. I mean, I guess I could just spend this stream cleaning that up, honestly, getting all that working. I already got the Steam Deck running better than I thought. That went a lot quicker, especially since I was able to take the automated builds. For those who are new, the other thing I'm doing is anytime I make a change and push it to GitHub, it will automatically build for Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, Web, and Steam Deck. And then when that web build succeeds, it will automatically push to my website where anyone can go to it and try it. Now, there's not much of gameplay there yet, but there's a little bit there. And so anytime I make changes, you'll see updates on my website for the game. What I hope will eventually be a game. Oh, hey, thanks. Well, I'm happy you found me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'll answer any questions you guys have. I've been doing C++ for a minute. My background is modeling and simulation, so when someone started talking about building a fairly accurate trajectory simulation, I'm like, let's hold the brakes. That's a lot of work. I'm not here to work. I'm here to have fun and goof off and try things that I haven't done before. And sometimes that does involve my friend Claude. I do use Claude for work, and so I do want to get better at using it. The downside is the more you use it, the more you just become a code reviewer, which isn't as fun. So I think part of my problem... Let's undo this. Yeah, my GitHub is in my channel links, but it's also just github.com/funandsoftware. I'm working out of a repo called Awin. Awin is just my convenience framework wrapped around QtQuick C++. Because usually the way you go about doing Qt, you can download the pre-built binaries, get Qt Creator going. Under the hood, it's using CMake anyway, but everyone has their own preference. I am not a fan of Qt Creator's text editor, so I prefer to just do VS Code. Get the VS Code extension for Qt, and then go. So that's kind of where that's coming from. And I already have everything set up to build for, like I said, all the different platforms I plan to support. You are free to grab what you want from there. But like I said, the Briarthorn application, source available. You're free to use it, learn from it, play it. Don't distribute it. Not that there's anything to distribute right now. So I think probably gonna have to do the same thing I did in my repo. Do I have it locally? Maybe I can, honestly, this might be a good use of Claude. If I have it locally, I can be like, hey, look, I've already done this. This is how I do it. Can you refactor to make this? Ooh, I do have it. I do have it. All right, let's see if I can do this. Hey, how's it going? Thank you. Hope your day's going as well as mine. I don't know. My day's going all right. Hope your day's going as well as mine. By the way, for those who haven't met him, over my shoulder there, his name is Trill. He's taking a nap right now. He's kind of a jerk. He's my jerk. All right, this zip file is driving me crazy. There's also apparently a new Opus version. Maybe, is it available? Can we try it? Yeah, Opus 5. Interesting. Let's see if I can do this. I have this locally. I need my Briarthorn application to support QML preview. To do this, it needs to load the main.qml file instead of the main module. I have an example of this successfully working in here. I also don't like the app and main.cpp.n style of implementation. I would prefer each application implement their own main.cpp even if code is duplicated. I appreciate that, Hunter. All right. So hopefully that'll take care of that. The other piece of this equation is I'm using VC package, but the way I'm pulling in dependencies right now in an effort to reduce compilation time is preventing the tools that come with it from being built. And I don't like that. So I gotta fix that. Xrender, xlib. This might be too much. Qt. I did, so I do have a plan. I have all kinds of plans. I added Qt WebSockets and network auth because at some point I would really like to try and connect this game, or at least this stream, to chat, and honestly be able to have you guys pop in to the game and try and shoot me down in order to kind of like stress test, so we can kind of do chat versus me inside Briarthorn. I'm still researching. I'm not 100% sure yet how that's going to work. Someone had the idea of using Twitch channel points in order to like spawn bigger and badder enemies to try and kill me, kind of thing. So I'm still thinking about that. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet, but I'm assuming I was going to need the WebSockets and the network authentication to make that happen. It is thinking. Oh, it is chewing through tokens. It's cooking. Yeah, apparently Opus 5 was just released maybe today. My boss actually told me about this. I wanted to see if there's any differences. Claude Opus 5 chart? Is that what I'm looking for? Introducing Claude Opus 5. Is that a 5? Claude Opus 5 is available today. It's a thoughtful and proactive model that comes close to the frontier intelligence of Claude Fable 5 at half the price. On coding and knowledge work evaluations like Frontier Bench and GDPval AA, I have no idea what those are. Maybe I'll control click and look at them later. Opus 5 is the new state-of-the-art, though it remains behind Mythos 5 on cybersecurity tasks. Opus 5 is designed to be used every day. It works more efficiently than other models. It's the new default model on Claude Max and the strongest model on Claude Pro. Okay, we've got percentages, people. Agentic terminal coding. But what does that mean? Does that mean this does 10% better in Fable if you write code in your terminal? I don't know what that means. But the number's bigger. Ooh, look at that. It is almost 10% better than 5.6. But what does 10% better even mean? Frontier Bench. Okay, what is Frontier Bench? Frontier Bench version 0.1, formerly Terminal Bench, a benchmark to measure and evolve with the frontier of agent work. Opus 5 is ahead of the game. So, do we wonder if we're getting to a point? Do you guys remember? Well, maybe not. I am a huge mobile phone fan, if you will, or I was. So I remember when these phones first were coming out, especially the touchscreen ones, and their performance like leapfrogging each other every time a new one came out. So you would run benchmarks. And then it came out that it's like, oh, these benchmarks are detecting which device is running on them, and the companies are paying for their devices to show up better than others. And so like when I see stuff like this, it's like, is this true? I don't know anything about Frontier Bench. Maybe they are a like an open organization or something that is not paid. Benchmark data should never appear in training. But it does make me wonder if like these models are being written to perform better against benchmarks versus actually being better, and if we can even notice, right? Because what is 10% better? Is it the difference between writing in a magic number or assigning that magic number a variable with documentation? Like, is that what 10% better means? That seems like a lot more than 10%. Hey, Jothun, how's it going? Just looking at some Opus news here. Apparently it's better. I'm not sure what better means, but it's better because the company that made it says it's better, is how I'm understanding it. But that could be wrong. I'm still learning. Novel problem solving. So Fable 5 can't problem solve? 30% problem solving compared to Opus 4.8 doing 1.5%. Dude, I wish I could run it locally. I looked into GLM 5.2, and like a bare minimum machine is, I think I was seeing like you want a couple terabytes of RAM or like a few GPUs with a few hundred gigabytes, something like that, just for like a bare minimum working system. Hunter, I mean, I can't predict, but just from my like day-to-day use of this professionally, it does okay. It's pretty good at refactoring. So like when the implementation's already there and I just need to like, I don't know, uplift it. Say this was written in C++ 11. Now I want to use ranges, for instance, refactor to use ranges. It can do that just fine. It can write tests. Sometimes the tests are a little overboard. Its documentation is insane. But it really struggles. It's like a junior developer. Let me restate that. It's like the type of junior developers I have worked for or worked with. It can write code. It can solve problems, but it doesn't know how to architect. It doesn't know how to engineer. It doesn't know how to make robust solutions. That's kind of what I do now, which now that I think about, I've always done, or I've done for like the past 10 years, is guide. guide, code reviews, suggest, architect, design, break the problem down, all of that stuff that I used to do, I still have to do. I just don't have to like spend as much time implementing like little functions and boilerplate. Now I just spend that time code reviewing. So my work amount really hasn't changed. It's shifted. For better or worse, I'm not sure yet. GPT agents launching a cyber attack on Hugging Face. I saw an article about that. I'm not sure 100% what that is. We might have to look at that. They tried to use Fable to defend, but the cybersecurity guardrails didn't let them. They ended up self-hosting. Oh my god. This is interesting. You could, oh man. There's so much you could do. And I don't know, like so much good you can do and so much bad you can do. I don't know. Anyway, Opus 5 apparently is according to these numbers, which I have no idea what they mean, if anything, is as good, if not better than Fable 5. What the frick? Wasn't Fable 5 like not even a month ago too dangerous for anyone to have? And now they release something that might be better and cheaper? What? Yeah, for me, it currently it feels like I am being more productive with LLMs. I don't like, I'm gonna need more data in order to confirm that, because what if down the road all of the code reviewing and stuff I've been doing with the LLM, like I can definitely feel somewhat of a disconnect from the project as a whole, where when I used to be in charge of projects where I hand wrote or had my team sit in meetings with me to discuss design plans and implementation, like I knew every nook and cranny of hundreds of thousands of lines of code. I knew where to go, exactly where things were configured, how I expected them to connect to interfaces, you name it, right? What in the world? Oh, I forgot we were running Cloud Opus. Okay, so it's working on the QML preview. But anyway, so I'm going to need more data points. And the thing I'm going to be curious to see is, you know, 6 months from now, using Claude every day, do I have the same mental context that I would have had without it? And was the increase in productivity worth the trade-off? I don't know. And I really won't know until someone comes back and it's like, hey, we have a critical failure. This needs fixed yesterday. And I go, oh shit. Claude, fix me. You're my only hope. And it doesn't get fixed. That's where I think the real problem could happen. Don't know if it will, but it's in the back of my mind like, ooh, I gotta be on the lookout for that. Ooh, this thing's still going. Audit cross-folder QML type reference. Okay, cool. It wrote audit.sh, which is weird because I'm on Windows. So is it using a... Is it using like my git bash terminal or something to run this? I don't know how it's doing that. Unless it comes with its own shell now. Scary. But yeah. It says Opus 5 is somewhat better. For whatever that's worth. is artificial analysis evaluation for OpenAI's GDP val dataset. It tests AI models on real-world tasks across 44 occupations and 9 major industries. Okay, this is kind of boring. Human baseline is 1,000. So this is saying Opus is almost 2 times better than a human? At what? It has an ELO rating. Okay, AI has ELO. They are competing in multiplayer PvP for the highest ELO. Kimi K3. Oh, is it an open source model? Where's I don't think I've heard of that one before. I've only heard of GLM. To be fair, I haven't like been reading into a bunch of this stuff, but apparently I need to. Okay, there's GLM right there. Oh, I clicked on something. Oh, there's a cost to it as well. Interesting. $25 per 1,000,000 tokens. If we can get to a point where this can actually solve problems and not just paste, you know, not just copy and paste other solutions to problems, holy crap, that's gonna be game changing. Interesting. So they look at the recent AI model hack stuff. The model was not powerful as Opus. It was only limitless. Interesting. But this, like, so how I'm using Opus right now, this is kind of how I use it professionally too, right? I'm not really having it generate a bunch of stuff. I'm having it fix. I'm having it like iterate. Like, hey, make it work. Let me see how you solved it. And now I can look at it and then guide it, code review it. Which means my job hasn't changed in 10 years. I'm still a code review Andy. Thought this was supposed to make my life better. I'm just starting to realize I've enhanced the parts of coding that I don't enjoy. This is still kind of cool. I just can never have dreamed that something like this would happen. Oh, look at that. It's running my tests to make sure things pass. That's cool. I do like that. Oh, and believe me, I cuss the ever-living shit out of these LLMs. Especially, like, I get in heated arguments sometimes because it's like, especially when it comes to design patterns and architecture that I'm very familiar with. And it's like, no, this is, you're thinking about this wrong. No, you're thinking about this wrong. You do what I say. You shut your mouth and get the work done. Stop pushing back. I don't have time for this. It's like, come on. You're acting like an overconfident junior developer. They landed their FANG job. They've been at the job for like a year or two. They're on top of the world. They're at the like easiest part of their career, and they think they know everything. And then they're coming to the senior engineer and telling me they know better. Like, screw you, man. I'm not bitter. I think depending on how well this Opus stuff does, which I haven't tried it today because it just came out, but next week I'll try it because I've been using Fable for my work, and it's been okay. Opus is okay. Fable is okay. So I'll have to see if Opus 5 does anything different or catches anything different. But, I mean, everything's been okay. All right, so it's gonna link against QtQuick directly. Okay. Kind of expected it to do that anyway. Did I just... Oh no! Did I lose my agent? Claude, come back! No, it's doing something. Oh, here it is. Whew. I'm not addicted. You're addicted. Hi, Trill. You want to say hi? Huh? Want to say hi? Come. Come on. What? No. No. Not good. You're gonna say hi. Want to say hi? You are ridiculously loud, okay? You know. He just woke up, yep. And he either wants food or he wants out in the garage. Is creating endless CMake files the best part of the project for me? Are you kidding me? That's an insane question. I'll be honest. I like writing good CMake like I like writing good C++. There's something that feels really good about figuring out some clean organization of your code or your scripts where it all makes sense in your head and everything fits exactly where you want it to. Your naming feels good. The way you pass in parameters feels good. Like, I like that for sure. Otherwise, CMake's kind of a necessary evil. But I'm a little biased when it comes to CMake. I have basically been using CMake since day one at the start of my career. I started on version... Oh, God. 2.4? 2.6? I guess we can kind of narrow this down. Do I know what version of CMake was in 2012? 2.8. That's what it is. Yeah. So I started learning CMake in 2.8. So the project I started on was a Visual Studio project, and they had a separate repo with makefiles for Linux. And so as an intern, I was tasked with learning how to use CMake to replace the Visual Studio solution files and the make files and get the project compiled and running. So I had to learn how to do that and then teach the rest of my team how to do that. And so that was basically it. That task changed the entire trajectory of my career and where I went. So now I am very much a CMake Andy, along with Qt. Qt was the same thing. The project I worked on, they used, I think it was called WinForms. It was built with like, oh my God, what was it called? It was like this weird C# C++ integration piece. I forget what it was called. But I basically had to take that, and without, like, the application didn't run, so I had to look at the code to figure out what the widgets were and then recreate the widgets in Qt, and from there learn Qt widgets and then teach my team how to do it. And that was kind of what I did as like my first big project as a junior developer. Yeah, WPF. Though, isn't WPF newer? This was older. I think it was WinForms. And then, yeah, it was like C#. It was C++. Oh my god, what was it called? C# CPP integration. It was like C++ CLR. It was, yeah, it was a .NET thing. Oh my god, what was it called? C++ CLI wrapper, object-oriented C++ classes, Windows only, native level. This might have been it. What's CLI? Common Language Interface? Oh god. Yeah, this. It was this. So I had to do, like, I had to learn how to read this code, which was written with visual widgets for Windows, and then convert it, or learn how to read the documentation for Qt, learn how to map the Qt widgets to this nonsense, and then get it all translated into C++, building on Windows and Linux using CMake. I had to do all of this. I had to do all of that to then teach the rest of my team. It might have been, yeah, right here. Create a CLR class library project in Visual Studio. So I think it was this. Yeah, I think it was this. It was like a combination of C++ and C#. It was like a way to load C++ libraries into your C# code, something like that. But that basically was my junior development career for like the first year or two. That plus also being the grunt work, right? I was the one who had to write all the tests. I was the one who had to write all the documentation, all the boring stuff. I also had to do that. Look up XAML. I've been aware of XAML. I have not looked at it in years. Oop. Oh. So it's basically scripting in pure XML. Ugh. I mean, the modeling and simulation framework that I did was also XML, so I totally get the pain. So doing something with QML is like so much nicer. So much nicer. Is this still running or is it done? Rebuild and retest, release, show, change files. All right, let's see what kind of changes it's made. All right, so it got rid of the app files, which I wanted it to. I did not like that solution. Was it writing? This makes sense. Oh, that's, I think, what was preventing it from loading. So that is another piece of the equation here. So with QML, I have singletons defined. But because I was loading things as modules, the singletons were getting their bytecode compiled into the module. But because I want to use the preview system, we have to load the files directly. Well, for that to work, you have to have these QML dir files predefined in that directory so that when these files are getting loaded, they can be parsed by the engine, the QML engine. which lets you know that these QML files are singletons. So it basically says, hey, instantiate this once, and then this is where it will be located. So I didn't have that. So it created those. See, like stuff like that, I know how to do. Clearly. I explained it. It's nice that I didn't have to feed that in word for word for the AI to figure that out. That's nice. Missing imports makes sense. Missing imports. Adding a missing link target. Loading the main.cpp by default so you don't have to specify it in your CMake project. Or no, that's what it's doing, allowing you to specify main.cpp. Missing style. All right, so far all of this makes perfect sense. There's nothing like egregious here. Everything is pretty much exactly what we need. Okay, so it even did this. So we load from module by default, but for debug, we will do this. Well, how is it defining this? Awin app QML sourcer. Okay, yep. So, cool. So it's going to define this based on wherever you clone this project. And then it also defines that QtQML debug flag. Perfect. That works. So that's kind of what we needed. Actually, this might be done. QML language server running in the background. All right. I think this is done. So let's try this. So I should be able to run QML preview. Let me build it real quick. Make sure everything's where it needs to be. Oh, except this isn't a release. We need to do debug. All right, it's built. Let's do this. Ooh. Ooh. Still some errors, but stuff is showing up. The enemy track is not showing up. But let's see if it does the live or the hot reload. And an easy one to do this on is the background. So if I comment this out and make this like, ooh, I want to flashbang chat here. So we're going to do white. Boom. Take that, chat. Ow, this hurts my own eyes. Ugh. All right, so hot reload works. So it's that easy. That's all you need to do to get live preview working. You need, to kind of reiterate, you need QML or QtQML debug defined. You need main.cpp to load the QML file directly versus loading it as a built module. And then for all of that to work, you need QML dir files defined so that your singletons can be figured out and the location of your imports can be figured out. Once you have those pieces, the last step of the puzzle is to run the QML preview executable by passing your executable in. So I'm curious then, I'm actually using a style object. So if I go into my themes folder and mess with the colors in here, will it actually work? Now this is a VS Code thing. VS Code can parse these hexadecimal values into colors, allowing you to like drag and set colors. So I have a window background. So if I do it here and save it, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. You know what this means? I can sit here and design a new color style for the application without like having to recompile and relaunch every time. I could just have this off to the side and change colors. I want to change colors of range rings. Let's make them bright green. Oh, ooh. Wait a minute. It's kind of cool. Hell yeah. This is working. I mean, we still need to figure out what the hell this is. Type error, cannot read property name of null. This feels like one of those stupid JavaScript things where it lets you do stuff that you really shouldn't. Like, oh, this is a specific type that has a name on it, but for whatever reason, it got assigned a different type that doesn't have a name on it. That's what it feels like. Yeah, I didn't set it up before because I just wanted to get something up and running on my website quickly, and so I just didn't do it. But now that I did it, I mean, plus the other thing, I can build this for web, load it in VS Code, and then anytime I compile, the web browser will automatically refresh and show the updates, which is kind of nice. Ooh, can I do QML preview for WebAssembly? What do you want, Trill? Huh? What do you want? Wonder, will that work? Let's try something. Let's do web debug. Build. Oh, need to configure. Ouch! Ouch! Alright. I'm gonna let this build real quick and make sure my cat has food and he's not attacking me. I'll be right back. What do you want? All right. Trill's food. We're good. Okay, so that doesn't work. That's all right. What is it updating in the CLOD file? Desktop debug builds instead loads main.qml from the source tree, so QML preview live reloads. Yep, that makes sense. All right, code review time. This is fine. The documentation's a little overkill. I don't know if I need to know all of this because I already know it. Ooh, that's kind of nice to know, actually. Because we'll need that if we ever want to profile the application with Qt Creator or the profiling tool. So that's fine. We have a main.cpp now, which is what I wanted. Doing application, that's fine. Load if it exists to load, otherwise load the module. This is for testing purposes, that's fine. I like that. What is this? QML preview, live reload, debug build. If not WebAssembly and not Android, we define these. That makes sense. The QML ders make sense. Do they get copied over? No, we don't have any Briarthorn QML getting copied into this. I wonder if we should. I'm gonna have to remember to create this file. That's the downside. Or update it. That's fine. Fine. If main is not defined, throw a fatal error. I'm okay with that. Set the target source for main.cpp. That makes sense. All of that makes sense. That makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. QML preview support. Implement support for QML preview. Publish. Cool. The other piece of this puzzle is I need to figure out what's going on here. We have engage.entity. We have a slot, which is one of its abilities, but its name is null. I have ability definitions somewhere. Name is defined. think the Qt extension supports JavaScript debugging or QML debugging. I don't think. Maybe it does. I think I have to create a launch to run the debugger. Have I done that before? Checking my archive repo. Where would I have done that? Yeah, I think you're right, Hunter. I feel like I've done that before, but my archived repo doesn't have it. The problem is my freaking VC package isn't configured with the tools, so I'm gonna have to like hard code. And I would fix the VC package stuff, but the problem is it's gonna take like 30 minutes to an hour to build, and I don't want to. I don't want to sit here and watch that build. I'm assuming no one else wants to sit here and watch that build. So I think I can at least point to my pre-built Qt. Hi, Trill. What are you doing? What is it? It's like QML... Profiler preview. Dude, what is your problem? I know what he wants. He wants to go out in the garage. Maybe I don't remember what the tool is called. I thought it was QML debugger. Profiler, runner. Because tdlib build and yeah. Hey, you're already doing good. You know what VC package is. There's a lot of engineers out there who don't know VC package, and I'm here to spread the knowledge. I was being the junior guy who was in charge of like learning all that. I was also the guy in charge of building all of our dependencies for our project. And so going from manually doing that to having VC package do it for you, it was a life changer. I don't see it. I don't remember the name of it. This is going to be... You know what? I might as well... I can probably at least get the build started in the background. This looks like it's going to pass. Just needs to build for Android, web, and Linux. Not even build. It has to pass Clang Tidy. Which it might not. I don't know. I think I'd tell it to try and pass. Let's swap over to main. God, I could just say build it. And not do all this complicated stuff. It just takes so much longer. Especially when I don't need like widgets. Eh, screw it. I don't need all this. We'll just make it easy. G-test. Well, that's not true. Still, I don't need G-test for Scripting or Android. Though it turns out, I think with WebAssembly, I can use Node to run tests. Kind of cool. I've done it before. Don't need SDL3 for Android. Dependencies. here, I would just do Qt declarative. No regrets. This is gonna cause a big rebuild. There it goes. Qt base. Yeah, there's so many more features turned on. There it goes. Oh boy. All right. So that's building. That's fine. I was going to do that in the background while I looked at something else, and I don't remember what I was looking at. I think this passed. Yes. And then the web deploy doesn't build on pull requests. So we'll merge that. And then here in a couple minutes, it will automatically deploy to my website, assuming it passes. Cool. Okay. So the next thing that I want to start cleaning up is the database, data weapon. Because I want to be able to add new types relatively easily. And be able to find them. And I've already done this with my Briarthorn prototype. Database. So I have like ability definitions, entity definitions, database.dart. So what I'm going to try and do is point Claude to this directory and be like, hey, I prefer to have my definitions separated into individual files so it's easier for me to like add and remove. Do that. And see what it comes up with, I guess. Especially now that Opus is so much better and cheaper. Hashtag not sponsored. Why? Quicker, less compiling. Eventually, I'll probably need to. I have some C++, mainly for the gamepad, which is why I have a dependency on SDL3. So I know Qt back in the day, version 5.15, I think was the latest, had an SDL3 implementation for gamepad. I made a simpler version of that pulls in SDL3. So I handle SDL3 events and forward them as signals, and then made a attached property so that in my main file here, I think, somewhere, I can essentially access that attached property and get the state I need from a gamepad. So this is what's making it possible to use the Steam Deck as a gamepad, is SDL3. That's really the bulk of the C++. I think I have a little bit of C++ to detect if I'm on a touchscreen device. Where did I do that? And that's all part of Awin. So if down the road anyone wanted to build their own application with Awin, you can use that. I think it's under input, touchscreen. So just a little bit of C++ to figure out, hey, using Qt, grab the input device. If any of the input devices are of type touchscreen, then you have a touchscreen, you know, that kind of thing. And I use that to show the little joystick visualization tool so you can use your thumb on it if you need to. I don't know if I will continue to use that or not, because it might be better to just be like, hey, if a touch is inputted via QML and that point handler object, show the joystick, versus is it a touch device, show the joystick. I'm not sure. But yeah, mainly for convenience and ease, I'm not going to stress about C++ from a performance perspective until I determine the JavaScript can't keep up. And then I've done this before, but we will open up Qt Creator to profile the JavaScript, or VTune to profile the C++. All right, this is still building, I think. So while that builds, ooh, is it gonna run into building issues? Might not be able to run this right now. Where are we at? We're on... Yikes. We're 16 of 29. So that's going to take probably the rest of the night to build. Let's see, what time is it? Do I have time? I might turn this into a Slay the Spires stream if no one's around to play. Yeah, I don't even want to run Claude right now, because this is in the middle of building dependencies and Claude likes to like build and run. And so I don't want it to cancel the build, which will take forever. You use the debugger on QML and JavaScript inside the Visual Studio project. Did you have to set anything specific up, or did it kind of just work? Because if it just works, then it, in theory, should just work for me too. I don't have a Visual Studio generator for this project, or do I? Because I can create one. Because I know how to set up the CMake presets to create the Visual Studio solution, and then be able to launch it via VS Code and still get the debugging. But if it works out of the box like that, awesome. I think the big issue for me is I'm just missing the tools through VC package. I have it via my local installation, but I prefer to keep everything self-contained within my editor, if possible. Oh, okay. That's cool. All right, folks. I think my progress has died. I mean, we made some progress. We did officially get the application running on the Steam Deck. So I think we're gonna end it here. Just to recap, I have the Steam Deck over here. Oh, sweet, still here. All right. So just to recap, I didn't actually have to do anything. I have in GitHub workflow actions to build for Linux, Windows, Mac, Steam Deck, Android, web. I mean, I could add Raspberry Pi. I was trying to think what else I could run this on. We could turn this into Skyrim, where it runs on everything. Maybe my watch. Ooh. What if? But anyway, got it building in pipelines to already support that. And it turns out I could just go into GitHub, download the zip of the artifact, pop it into my Steam Deck, install it, and we get it running. And not only running, but because the Steam Deck has a touch screen, we get touch. So that works. So that's kind of cool. So that gives me another like surface area for testing to make sure things work as expected. The other piece of the equation is, as we just pushed a change, if I go to briarthorn.game, I can hit the try it button. It'll load the app. Now obviously a little small here, so I'll hit full screen and rotate, and we'll see there's a version string that lets you know that this was built today. And it also works touch as well. So, awesome. My next step, which as soon as I get this stuff built, maybe this weekend, I don't know if I'll stream it or not, but I want to get some of the boring stuff out of the way. Not necessarily game implementation, but just architecture, getting things laid out where I need them to be a little bit more maintainable, extensible, get all that figured out. And then really the next step is figuring out a good feel for that 1v1 combat, getting some AI behavior, not like Claude AI, but game AI, getting some good AI behavior that feels good and challenging, being able to like shoot at something, try and stay locked on it so your missile hits it, or steer away and try to avoid them shooting at you. Because if I can get that figured out and make that fun, I think we have something. Or it's going to be terrible and I've got nothing and no idea. This just becomes a generic gaming stream at that point. And then maybe I'm going to keep researching. I want to find a way to integrate chat with like a fun stream day where you guys try to pop in on the game and shoot me down, spawn enemies, that kind of thing. So I'll keep looking into that, see if I can figure out what's going on there, because I think that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it here. Ooh, Trill's already calling it. So yeah, we're gonna call it here. Thank you guys for coming by. Hope you learned something, or at least got to see a little bit of how my project is organized. And I will catch you next time. Bye. See ya.